Welcome to X-Girls, where we answer your questions about the impact of the sex industry and life after sex work. My name is Ashley Abercrombie, and I'm your host for today. I'm here with Harmony Dust, founder of Treasures, an outreach and support group to women in the sex industry based in the San Fernando Valley of LA. We also have Chrissy Moran, who works at Treasures as one of the peer mentors. And finally, we have Bronwen Healy, founder of Hope Foundation in Australia, an outreach to women in prostitution. What's great about these episodes is that we're answering your questions from the perspective of women who used to be in the sex industry. Harmony is an ex-stripper, Chrissy is an ex-porn star, and Bronwen is an ex-prostitute. And together, they are the X-Girls. For a lot of women, when they leave the industry, they find themselves really having to face the aftermath. The industry's taken a toll physically, financially, emotionally. And so today we're going to talk to these women about how they've navigated life after sex work. And we're going to take some of your viewer questions. But the first one, so ladies, when we think about the word aftermath, like immediately you picture like disaster. You think about Hurricane Katrina or a tsunami, and the aftermath is kind of after the dust has settled, the way the landscape looks. And so when you made the decision to leave the industry, what were you left to face emotionally after the dust settled?
Well, I think I had definitely post-traumatic stress. And it was to the point...
What is that? Will you kind of define for us what post-traumatic stress is in case someone doesn't know?
It's basically...
It's an anxiety disorder that's characterized by reoccurring unwanted thoughts or nightmares and flashbacks and just a lot of anxiety around it. And so that's something, actually, women in the sex industry experience post-traumatic stress disorder at rates equivalent to veterans of combat war. So, you know, many of us after leaving the industry are dealing with that. Just the memories and the flashbacks and nightmares and cold sweats and anxiety and...
Yeah, I had all of that. And I had weight gain, and I got cystic acne from the stress. So it was like my face was covered, chest and my back, it came out of nowhere. And then gaining weight after your identity is wrapped up into your looks is just pretty traumatic.
Wow. And what about you, Bronwen? What did you kind of have to face emotionally?
For me, a lot of it was, like my clients were people's husbands and fiancés and boyfriends. And so I would have the nightmares of men's faces swimming past me and their wives and their children. And I would imagine their aftermaths.
Wow.
And it was traumatic for me to think about the wives and the children left behind. And so for me, it was guilt and shame. It was when the drugs would leave my system, those things would flood my system. And it was just kind of very, very hard to live functionally in everyday life when those things were swarming around in my head and my nightmares.
Wow.
Yeah. For me, the nightmares were huge. I would dream every night like that there were people and they were trying to kill me or monsters and I was trying to kill them and my only weapon would be like a pen. And I would just all night long and I would wake up, it got to the point where I wasn't even waking up scared, I was just waking up tired from fighting all night. And besides that, just even having come from this background of sexual abuse, I learned from a very young age to dissociate, and essentially what that means is I could numb out. So when I was in the industry, I didn't use drugs, but part of that was because I could be sitting in front of you and be a million miles away because I could turn off, numb out, just totally go someplace else in my mind. So part of what I was left with is then now I was in situations where people wanted to know me and they wanted to connect and they wanted to know who I am and what I'm feeling. And I'm like, the real me, right? And so I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I have no idea. And I've had to go on a journey of figuring out how to reconnect to how I feel and who I am.
That's like Bronwen was saying in that earlier episode, like, who are you? That being the driving question. Especially after looking at the landscape of your life and you kind of have to pick back up the pieces again. Who are you? That's been a powerful theme throughout all of these episodes. Next up, we're going to be talking about how these women navigated their personal relationships in the aftermath of leaving the sex industry.
Whoa.